Hello, dear friends, and good morning on the 16th of September. We are starting a very special week because in the middle of the week, we will have a lunar eclipse. So we are getting closer and closer to this peak moment of this lunar cycle, which will be important not just for this month and this lunar cycle, but potentially for a much longer time. So when we get to this, of course, we will talk in more details. But for now, just be aware that this week is more intense than usual. And specifically today on Monday, we have an interesting shift. At the beginning of the day, the moon is still in Aquarius, and there will be a square with Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, which means that we might be more tense, more nervous, more impatient. We may want more dynamic in our life, or we may want everything to happen faster. But such a combination can kind of like make us a bit restless, a bit, I would say, not very efficient. The other thing which is interesting is that the moon is going to move into Pisces around the middle of the day, which will change the energy drastically. From this nervous, restless, impatient state, we will move into a much more relaxed, calmer, but also potentially confusing state. Pisces is the energy that helps us to feel more, energy that makes us potentially more detached from reality, a bit kind of like diving deeper into our own experiences or something which can be more personal. So if the first half of the day is more about socializing, needing something to happen right away, having this kind of like restless, nervous energy, then the second half of the day is more about kind of like withdrawing, I would say, from the outside world and focusing more on our feelings, what we are going through, and needing more space. We need more space and time, I would say, to relax. And I want to show you something very interesting also. So here is Jupiter and Venus. We still have a trine between those two planets, and it was very exact during the weekend. But even today, we are still gonna feel this positive energy between Venus and Jupiter. The trine aspect is the most harmonious aspect we can have. And Venus and Jupiter are the two most beneficial planets. Plus, Venus is very strong in Libra. The only thing is that Jupiter is very weak in Gemini. But other than that, this combination is really fantastic for focusing more on the things that we love. So Venus is the highest priority here because it's in a stronger position in terms of the sign. So we need to focus more on the things that we love, on connecting with people we love or the things that we enjoy. And this can bring us some kind of success, the feeling of some kind of fulfillment. Because Jupiter is weak in Gemini, perhaps here we don't talk about things in huge scale. It's more about feeling good about the small things that we are achieving, the small wins, and not ignoring them, not, kind of like missing those things. But what is the more interesting part specifically for today? Look at this Mercury. Mercury, which is in Virgo, has two karmic aspects with Jupiter and with Venus. With Venus, this aspect is called nonagon. With Jupiter, it's called binonagon. It's so interesting because honestly, recently I have been exploring specifically this combination. When two planets are connected with a trine, so 120-degree aspect, which is again the most harmonious ones, but at the same time, there is a planet which makes those, I would say, sharp, difficult aspects with both of the other planets. I will probably share some observations soon and more like extensive exploration with charts and in how this works in prediction. But right now it's affecting us from the transits. So even though we have this nice combination between Venus and Jupiter, Mercury is there kind of like messing up the whole thing, I would say. The thing is that Mercury is also very strong. Mercury is in Virgo. So we don't talk about something that is completely non-constructive, but it could create problems. The nonagon and binonagon are aspects which can create unexpected, sudden situations that require from us to handle with something in a more drastic, sudden way. So overall, those are aspects that bring tension. So how to put all of this together and what we should do today? Here is the answer. So Venus and Jupiter are still bringing this foundation, this basis of something very positive, very constructive, related to what we would love to do, focusing on things that bring us joy. So we need to be mindful how we are using Mercury. In simple words, it means not to be too critical. Mercury in Virgo, and generally Mercury is about our thinking, about how we see things, about, the human mind. So if we focus on this, if we try to be too analytical, too critical, we focus too much on details, this will basically spoil the positive energy that comes from Venus and Jupiter, something that can be both pleasant and potentially beneficial. So with the moon also moving to Pisces, with this trine here between Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury, I have one recommendation which may sound a bit strange, but it really applies for today. Today, we shouldn't think too much. Of course, everything should happen in a reasonable way. I hope you understand what I mean, but we really shouldn't focus too much on analyzing things, being too pragmatic, focusing on little details. Instead, we should focus more on feeling, because the moon is moving in Pisces towards the second half of the day. I will tell you exactly when. So actually, for the US, this is already the morning. So in the morning, the moon is already in Pisces. For Europe, this is around lunchtime. So the moon is moving to Pisces. And then we have this combination here with Mercury. So the more we focus on sensing things, feeling the atmosphere, kind of like using more our intuition, the more we focus also Venus, Jupiter on the things that are pleasant to us, the better it will be. The less challenges we will have, and the less, I would say, the less stress we will have. So today, try to give yourself a little bit of a break, or to have some time for yourself. Again, the moon in Pisces wants us to reflect on something, to process something, not to rush, not to hurry too much. And be careful how you're using your mind, because today the mind could be a bit tricky, a bit overcritical, again, judgmental, and can spoil the potential opportunities. So that's how we are starting this week. I want to remind you again that we are starting our new astrology training. The first class was open, and it was yesterday. Later, I will publish the whole thing, so you can find the link later below this video as well. So if you would like to learn some helpful things, how to use astrology, what are the possibilities that astrology brings you, then you can watch the recording, and of course you can still join us. And don't forget, prepare that this week will be an intense one. The lunar eclipse is on Wednesday, so this is like a peak level of the energy, and we will talk more about it soon. So have a wonderful day and week. I'll see you tomorrow.